Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the static classes and static members in the C# programming language. It is one of the important concepts in the C# programming language. So, a static class in C# um, is a class that cannot be instantiated. It means that we can't create object of the static class and can only contain static members. Okay, so it uses to create utility or you can say helper classes. So we are using the static classes for creating the utilities and helper classes, right? And that utility and helper classes provide functionality without needing to create an instance or you can say object of the class. Now let's me directly move towards the development environment, as it is easy to understand the things by writing a code rather than just keeping focus on the theory. So it was, I think, enough about the theory. Now let's me show you the practical examples of the static class and the static members of the static class. Okay, now I will give here a syntax of the static class. So to define a static class, you use the static keyword before the class declaration. Now let me show you an example. Public, and then you have to use the static keyword, and then obviously the class keyword for creating the class, and then let me give a name to the class name, for example utility, and inside this class, this static class lets me create a function, and I will create this function also a static member of this class. So public static, and this function will not return any type, so I will use void, and then let me give a name to the function, print message, and this function will take only one parameter. The parameter lets me give the parameter. The parameter type will be string and the name will be message. Okay. Now guys, I always focus to keep the things very simple, to not giving complex examples, to not create lots of classes, lots of files, and then integrate here in the program.cs. I just want to focus on the basic concepts, the basic things. Once you get clear about the basic concepts in C#, then obviously you will be able to move step by step towards the more advanced topics, to the more advanced things in the .NET. Right. Now, here inside the function, I will just print a message to the console, like in this way. I will, uh, just print the parameter that I'm getting inside this function, and I will print to the console here. Okay. Now, let me use this uh, class. Okay. Now you can call the method of a static class like this one, and it is the method, and we can call it directly using the class name without creating the object of the class. Now if you remember inside in our previous lectures, we mostly call object of the classes like this, utility object, and then we create the object using the constructor of the class. But inside the static class, we can't use like in this way. You can see the compile time error, can't create an instance of the static class utility. No, we can't create object of the static class. No, how then we can use the static class? How can I access this print message? No, I have just to type the class name and then dot. It will automatically give me all the members, and lets me call the function, and this function requires one parameter. No, let's me give here hello from Noor Kodlajis. Right. Now this line will print uh, uh, this line. will access the print message function of the utility class and will print the message to the console. Now let's me put here one debugger here and one debugger here, and I will run the application so that you can see the output inside the console. Okay, now by executing this line, the program execution will come inside the print message. You can see that I am getting hello from Noor Code Tajik message as a parameter, and once I execute this line, the message will be printed to the console. Hello from Noor Code Tajik. Okay. Now we define the basic state class. Now what are the static members inside the static class? So static members are class members. It can be field, it can be property, it can be function, or it can be event, right? That belongs to the class itself rather than any object of the class. So both static and non-static classes can contain static members, right? It's mean that we can create the static members inside the static class like this one, and we can also create the static member inside the non-static class. Let's we create here one non-static class like utility 2, and inside this let's me define here a static function. You can see it not giving me any error. It's mean that we can define the static functions, other members inside the non-static class like this one, and also inside the static class like this one. Okay, now let's me remove this line of code, and now I will show you other example of the static members of the static class. Okay, now let's look an example of a non-static class with a static member. Now I have to define here one other class. Let's suppose public class, it's non-static class, and the class name be, let's suppose, calculator. And inside this class, let's me define two uh, static functions, and the first function will return the integer value, and the function name, let's suppose, add, and this function will take two params, int a and b. Okay, and let's me sum these two variable a and b, the two parameters. And inside the calculator class, let's me define one another static function, and this function will also return integer, and let's me give a name sub yes, and this function will also take two uh, parameters, int a int b, and I will subtract return a, sorry guys, a minus b. Okay, like in this way. Now how we can use this calculator class and these two functions? So we can call the static methods of the calculator class directly using the class name. Now let's me move here, and let's me call these two static functions directly using the calculator uh, class name, and then the dot operator in the function name. Now I will obviously the first function return an integer value. That is why I will keep the result inside a variable, and then the class name is calculator, and then I have to call the add method, and let's me pass the two parameters like 5 comma 3, and then let's me call the second function of the calculator class, I mean this one. You can see that I am directly call on the static members instead to create object of the calculator class using the new keyword, and then to call the to call the add function like we are doing in our previous lectures. Now I am directly accessing just by typing the class name and then the function name. Now inside the next line, I will call the other function the subtract, no calculator do subtract, uh, and I will pass 5 and 3. Okay. Now let's me print these two output to the console. Sum and then difference. Okay. Now let's me remove the debugger from here. I will just comment this line because I want to show you the example of the calculator class, right? Also remove just close this one. Okay. So let's me run the application. Okay. Now at this line, I am accessing the add function because it is a static member directly using the calculator class name and then the function name. Okay. And the sum is 8 and then the difference is 2, and let's me output these two to the console. You can see here 8 and 2. Now we can see that we can directly call the function using the class name and the function. Let's suppose I remove the static keyword here before the function name inside the calculator class, and you can see now I am getting an error, the compile time error. An object reference is required for the non-static field, method or property. It's mean that now I have to create an instance of the calculator, an object called calculator object, and then I have to instantiate this object, and now I can access, let's me copy, sorry, control X, control V, and now I have to call this function using the object. No, it is our simple function. It's not a static function, and it is our static function. And I am directly calling the static function on this line. And for this function, I am first creating the object of the class and then calling the function. Now let's see the output. I created the object and call this function add, and the output is 8, and I call the static function inside the calculator class. The output is 2, and let's me print here inside the console 8 and 2. So you see the basic usage, how we can use the static classes inside the C# programming language. Static classes and static members in C# are very powerful features that allow us to create utility classes and class level methods and properties. Thanks for watching this video about the static classes and static members, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe the channel so that I upload more content about the programming language and different topics. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you next time in with a new topic of this series. Thank you.